B&M and B&M.
Hello and welcome to the first of two videos in our mini Italian heatwave trip series. Today we're going to be at Gardaland and hopefully in a couple of days we'll be at Mirabilandia, but let's see how bad the heat actually is before we jump ahead to there. As always, I'm joined today with my brother Edward.
Hello everyone.
So far I think the expectation is that the park's not going to be too busy today, so it should be a pretty chill day. So far, if I could compare this park to anything, it's like a mini PortAventura. Oh god, they've got an SLC.
We've got a B&M wing coaster here, a Vekoma mine train, but we're going to start with the Italian Oblivion. Look at the rockwork here. It's not exactly the same font, but this is going to be interesting to notice the differences between Oblivion and this, which is actually called Oblivion the Black Hole. First ride of the day. Point F no E turn. That does seem like a reference to the original. It's a flawless dive coaster, only 6 seats across instead of 8, and it's got 3 rows. We're going to be on the back row.
We invite you to get out on the
Straight away I'm going to say it, I think Oblivion is better than Oblivion. I think that might just be the best dive coaster I've done. It's quite similar to Valkyria, but I'd choose this because of the restraints.
That's a very high quality photo. Look how buff I am. Look at the breadth of my shoulders. Wow. Adding that on the back row is amazing because you're basically flat when it drops, so you get yanked over the drop. This Immelmann's weird because it feels floaty, but it also feels quite snappy at the same time. And I prefer it much to Valkyria's Immelmann. And this is some really good floater airtime. And then there's a lot of hang time in this roll here.
How is it on the front compared to the back?
Yeah, it's really good on the front. There's probably a bit more airtime and it felt faster.
With the airtime he's talking about this hill here, there's no doubt the back row gives the best airtime for the drop.
Gardaland is also owned by Merlin, just like Chessington, just like Alton Towers. Obviously Chessington have the world of Jumanji. And that's exactly what I was about to say. They have the same soundtrack as Mandrill Mayhem at Chessington, and Oblivion, it doesn't actually have the same rave music soundtrack, but you know, there's also this is basically Corkscrew. It's Alton Towers' Italian version. We've made our way right to the back of the park to do Kung Fu Panda Master, and I have to say the waiting times at this park are really weird because they always pick a multiple of 5. He looks like a Kung Fu Panda Master with his umbrella, by the way.
They always take a number that's a multiple of 5 and then they'll add 1 to it, so this is a 26-minute queue.
And it's got 2 lift wheels. I've forgotten the name of it, but I think this is the exact same coaster as they had at Power Park.
I think it was called Neo's Twister at Power Park in Finland. This seems to be a clone of it, but the theming here is so much better.
For such a horrible coaster type, I have to say they've done a pretty good job at making it look good. I just realised Po is also the same name as the biggest river in Italy. Geographical knowledge. This reminds me of seeing Oblivion the Black Hole and Raptor next to each other. There's people stuck up there, so they're going. We'll come back and try that one later on, but for now, credit time. Only these kind of long layouts would have a different type of track to this. The fact that they're running this type of coaster with 2 trains is quite impressive too.
Sorry.
Wait, no, it's your way. Bro, look how close I am to this bush.
He's rather close to the bush. Nice, nice.
Seems like that ride was sponsored by some Eat Your 5 a Day company. Time for Shaman, Vekoma looping coaster with a recent retrack, just like Python at Efteling. If it is anything like Python at Efteling, this could quietly be possibly the best ride at the park. I'm not even kidding about that. The layout does look very similar. It might even be a clone. I'm very curious as to how this rides.
Okay, maybe saying it could be the best at the park is a bit of an exaggeration, but it could well be up there.
Once again, I'm pleasantly surprised by all this theming. Here we go. In general, it seems to take the layout at a much faster pace than Python does.
It is a clone of Python at Efteling,
But the shaping's not quite the same. I don't know if it's obvious, but the entry into the double corkscrew is a bit weird, it's a bit janky. And the exit particular here, there's a massive jolt throwing your neck into the side. But other than that, it's fairly smooth. How did you find that, Ed?
Well, it was good until that part, and I can't even bite without my back hurting.
It's injured him. Elements like this sort of give airtime. I didn't remember Python doing the same because Python was just a bit slower, but it was also a much more comfortable experience. I think you can kind of see the transition there is a little bit weird.
I'd happily do that again. I don't know about this guy.
No, definitely not.
Why have they still got the entry sign for it? This thing got demolished ages ago. I don't really know what it is, but I've heard it's meant to be something. Let's do I Corsari. I don't know what to expect whatsoever. Barca means boat, so it's gonna be, yeah, I think it's gonna be some kind of water dark ride, maybe like Pirates of the Caribbean. Here we go. This is a cute little village. Submechanophobia. It's got like a human face in the front of it. What the oh. Wait, is that Ecoradium? Big battle scene going on here. Got a boat and then some fortifications on this side.
I Corsari is not a world-class dark ride by any means, but given that it's a maximum 5-minute queue because it's got a pretty good throughput, it's definitely worth doing. And on a hot day like today, it's always nice to cool off underground before we go back outside.
This has completely ruined the immersion. Here we go, time for one of the original B&M wing coasters, Raptor.
I think this is pretty similar to Manda Mayhem.
Just did a bit of research. Turns out Raptor was the first ever B&M wing coaster.
That's the opening date there on the support.
It was only a few weeks ago where we rode the newest wing coaster.
Cool looking station, a lot of concrete. Time for back row ride, right wing on Raptor.
So we've now been on the newest and the oldest wing coaster, and I've got to say that is just about as weird as the newest one. It's just the elements on that seem so much more unconventional compared to normal B&Ms, and that was the same as with Mandrill Mayhem. Definitely a low tier wing coaster.
Ed, what was your reaction after riding Raptor?
Yeah.
Quite good. 2-minute queue for the river rapids.
We're just about in that middle part of the day, so we're looking to do something to cool us down a bit.
Look at these shoes, we get it, you're 1.4. Hamster wheel time. A few small splashes, but nothing significant. This might get us a bit wetter though. Now though, we are going to get another one of the credits done with Mammoth. They really are pushing this Coca-Cola sponsorship thing. If you've not seen it in the news about all the aspartame.
Three lift hills, quite a long ride, a little bit rough. It doesn't really come close to Colorado Adventure in my opinion. As for the theming, it's okay, but it does feel very much like a budget Expedition Everest.
The exit of Mammoth leads right to the entrance of Blue Tornado. I didn't expect to do it this early in the day, but the universe is telling me to do it. This guy on the other hand, he's probably made the right call. I don't see any bleeding ears, so it might be okay.
I feel like I've just done a lot of really high intensity exercise after getting off that.
One interesting thing about this ride, however, though, it does have an extra helix right at the end. Even more torture. This really feels like Planet Coaster theming. Fuga di Atlantide. It looks like it should count as a credit because that's literally roller coaster track right there. Abs, abs.
The ride itself doesn't actually get you that wet. You get a bit of spray as you go down the drop, but the actual splashdown all goes outside. Some guy decided to pay for the water guns. That's why my hair is looking like this and I am quite wet. Whether it's a credit or not, that's up for debate. I'm personally not going to count it because normally I just use RCDB and this isn't on RCDB.
It's actually quite similar to Drenched at Oakwood. It's also made by Intamin. So we're just going for our second ride on Raptor. This time they decided to check my height and they said that I was less than 195, which you have to be because obviously this near miss is sweating away already, but they gave me this stamp. This side will be on the left wing and we're going to be sat a bit further forward.
Second ride on Raptor, it's actually quite rough. I suppose you could compare that roughness to the newest wing coaster because it feels a bit of a bouncy kind of thing, and I think sitting on the outside makes it worse.
I have to say the year after this opened with the Swarm, they one-upped themselves massively. The Swarm is miles better. Now we're going to go on the new Jumanji ride that opened up this year. Some kind of dark ride attraction, but I don't really know what to expect. Dwayne Johnson off Wish. Cake makes me explode. So far it seems to be just a bog standard dark ride, but apparently there's a few special effects, so we'll see what that's like.
We saved Jumanji. It was fairly short. The screams were quite effective. It's a little bit nauseating the way that the cars spin around. It feels fairly modern, and I guess that's what you want for a dark ride that's just opened this year. Once it's nice to see some clouds in the sky, and it actually feels like the park's starting to cool down. It's just gone 6 o'clock. We're taking things really slow, but there's still plenty of time left to get more re-rides and get the last credit.
Colorado Boat would be a horrendous name for a log flume if it was in England. I suppose to the Italians it probably sounds quite cool.
I thought it was a decent spray, but then somehow a massive dump of water came over and it went all over my legs. My socks are completely saturated. How did you find that, Ed?
Better than Tiger Rock. There's a word in Japanese for this, but I don't know what it is.
This is a godsend on a day as hot as this.
We're back here to do this. Hopefully it doesn't shut down right in front of us.
From what I remembered, it was better than Neo's Twister, although the lap bars came up really high on my stomach and that was a little bit uncomfortable as we went around the corners.
Dan's gonna do Shaman, but I'm not because it's caused me some back pain. He's gonna do it and I'm gonna prove to him the reason why he shouldn't do the comas. The comas are rubbish.
What? That transition there, dangerous.
I don't think I'll be doing that again.
Yeah, the comas, just avoid them.
No, Python's fine.
No,
the rest of this is fine. It's one transition that ruins it. I literally heard my neck go, it's not good, bro.
2023 walkthrough attraction, Jumanji the Labyrinth. I reckon we follow these footsteps. It says mirror maze. Oh god, it is as well. That's a mirror. That's also a mirror. Really nice theming, and at this time of night, just as the sun's starting to set, it's a really cool vibe here.
The missing piece is not what you think.
What's that supposed to mean? They had this exact statue in the Chessington world of Jumanji.
That was bloody lovely.
Genuinely, that is one of the best things at this park, I reckon. It seems that the park gets a lot busier later on, probably because it's cooler. Let's go on Space Vertigo, which is this small Intamin drop tower.
JCB.
Yeah, this is cool. A bit over the top for what looks like a very vertically challenged drop tower. Kicked me out. They said I was too tall.
I can confirm I am quite tall. First time in my life I've actually been rejected from a ride for being too tall.
Decided to come and do the Sky Island instead to get a view over Lake Garda as the sun's about to set. The sunset should have just about happened now somewhere over there, but because of all the heat, it's just so hazy. Lovely view of Lake Garda though. Finally, a front row ride on Oblivion. That was basically a night ride in Oblivion. I think my camera makes the sky look a little bit lighter than it actually is. Dive coasters are never going to be world class just because they don't offer that much. But I have to say this could well be one of the best dive coasters in the world, and it's definitely the best that I've been on.
The pacing of it compared to every other dive coaster is so much better. It feels really snappy, but it still has some hang time in places, so overall it's a really good ride.
Time for one more ride. Ed, are you sure you don't want to do Blue Tornado?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Should we finish with Raptor then? It's going to be a proper night ride, this one.
So we're going to end the day on the front row of Raptor.
This should be pretty fun because wing coasters are always quite good on the front. Was my favourite ride of that so far. On the front row in a middle seat, it's actually not rough whatsoever. The distribution of the train is so varied, it really does depend on what seat to impact the roughness of it. It was still fairly forceless though. I still think it's a very bottom tier wing coaster. It's been a fairly hot day today. Hopefully in a couple of days Merlin-run will be a bit cooler. Today's been just about manageable. The best advice I can give is drink lots of water. What we've been doing is refilling bottles from the sinks in toilets, which some people might have a problem with, but if you're washing your hands with it, it's not going to kill you drinking it, because the amount of water that we've had to drink today probably would have cost us 15 euros each. But that will be all from this visit to Gardaland. It's a fairly small park, but definitely enough here to fill a day with. The only real standout coaster has got to be Oblivion, which I think is one of the best dive coasters around. Just feel like they're lacking something, but it's a nice park and it's definitely worth visiting. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in a couple of days. Goodbye everyone.
Buckle up, it's a chill ride.